Okay. So I am calling our regular Hillsborough School Board meeting into session. And our first order is our flag salute. So if you could all join me. I know that I'm speaking, but you can mute your mic. I'll make sure that I'll say it out loud for all of us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Our next item on our agenda is recognition and student presentation. So this is our recognition and appreciation for our outgoing student representatives, Danny Adzema, Maria Isabel Aguilar Alvarado, and Andrew Goodwin. And I think we have, do we have a PowerPoint mic that I saw?
Yes, we do. There we go. Well, thanks, Kelly.
So this is a time for all of us to, I guess, have comments from our board and staff, recognizing our student reps. I just want to say what an amazing experience it has been being a board member and having student reps at the table, because you're hearing things directly from that. So I'm gonna, go ahead, Danny.
Okay, so I put together this slideshow, but for almost every single time that the school board met this year, I think maybe we missed 2 or 3. Me, Andrew, and Maria have taken a photo. Usually Jackie's helped us and, held the camera, and it's been a real fun time. And so I put this together last week, and they're mostly in chronological order to the best of my ability. Some of them might have gotten a little mixed up, but yeah.
Is somebody gonna run this slide so we can see these pictures? There we go.
This one was taken with the outgoing student representatives when we took our oath, and you can see Grace on. It's a fun time. Oh, next, sorry. This was us when we got our desks. The next. And then this is us with our portraits at the admin center. Next. This was the one of our first work sessions. And then we can just sort of go through the next few, that was the one we had to do at Glencoe. And then that was the OSBA conference. That one was really fun. And then next, and this was the one that was actually featured on the OSBA Twitter account. That was super fun. We were some of the only student reps there, and it was really fun to see that up there. And the next, and these next few are just some from school board meetings. We can go through them. That one was from the first one we had to do during the distance. We had a fun time trying to get these photos from them, but we got most of them. So next. This one was taken by, and the next, we've got Andrew. He's going to Linfield, and he's pursuing a BA in writing and a BS in digital art. Go Glencoe, roll tide. And that's all.
Thank you, Danny. Andrew and Maria. Maria, if you want to go, and if you have any comments to share, and then we'll go with Andrew. Maria, are you on here? I thought I saw you. Your mic is muted in case you're trying to speak. Let's go with Andrew for a little bit, and maybe we can get Maria back in a little bit. So go ahead, Andrew.
All right, so I wrote an open letter to the students of Glencoe, if it's okay if I read that right now. Also, if you'd like, Rose, I can send that to you for the public record. So, June 23rd, 2020. Dear Glencoe students, it's amazing to think about how such a small amount of time can make a significant difference. Think about it. 10 seconds quantify a minuscule moment in your life, but those 10 seconds could be world-changing 10 seconds. Even today, you never know when one small move could lead to a global phenomenon. When we discuss changing times and societies, it is crucial acknowledging that while we cannot use a time machine to physically travel back in time, nor can we travel forward to see what our current antics and behaviors could lead to, we can find ourselves physically and socially changing with the times. For example, when we make mistakes, which is a part of life, we use time to think about what we did and how we could approach the situation differently in the future. In this process, which could last minutes or years, we change ourselves and our behaviors, which could have a domino effect on how our future selves turn out. Time as a concept is one of the few mysteries in life that humans have been unable to manipulate. Sure, we've established time zones to allow us to experience the sun rising and setting at approximately the same measurable time, regardless of where we live. Daylight saving time supposedly keeps the sun's actions in summer and winter synchronized with a measurable time. The ability to change a daily schedule could alter your habits to the point where you change your entire daily routine. But these are measurements of time, not quite controls over them. Physically warping time to allow us to travel into the past or future can only be discussed in science fiction. We could easily replace the year 2020 in our calendars with 1320. But the ability to truly venture back to the 14th century and tell Marco Polo that his name, work, and endeavors have been simplified into a swimming pool game is one that we have yet to encounter. We have used time to go through our childhoods, our teen years, and for those of us who have recently graduated, our first steps as young adults. With that, we have gained maturity, learned life lessons, made new friends, changed our outfits and hairstyles, used new technology, developed hobbies and passions, found our own purposes, and developed our own meanings of life. Only once in a blue moon can we argue or proclaim that the world truly is our generation's oyster. Between the COVID-19 pandemic, the ongoing fight for liberty and justice for all, and the questioning of the systems and functions of many aging societal systems, we have the ability to use our generation's resilience, tenacity, and innovation to ensure that as many people as possible, if not everyone, has an equitable chance at living their own interpretations of the American dream. We must keep this momentum going, and even the smallest actions can make a significant difference. Treating everyone you meet with dignity and respect, keeping an open mind, listening to others who have not been listened to enough, taking action to help those who have been hurt by society as a whole, appreciating the small things in life and in nature, and doing your part in maintaining a community where everyone feels equally welcomed and respected will help everyone succeed in a future that remains largely unknown. It's been an honor serving as your student representative to the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors. I wish all of you your continued studies and future endeavors. Onward, Andrew Goodwin, class of 2020.
Thank you, Andrew. I wanted to make sure we have Maria to speak, and I think she's having trouble with unmuting her mic. And if I remember before, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Control C? Control D? Okay, Maria, so if you're hearing me, if you press Control D, you should be able to unmute your mic. Oh, I saw you a little bit ago and then it went away. Let me try again. There you go. Oh. There you go. Ah.
Maybe you have to hold it down.
Yeah. Can you speak? Ah, it just goes by default into muted.
Since the administrator can mute people, can the administrator unmute people?
I was asked the same thing.
Yeah.
Can she try calling in?
The thing is, I've already done.
We got you.
Oh, this thing! Oh my god! Okay. Okay. So this was our final goodbye, but I heard that it's the first goodbye, not the final one. Correct? Is there still something during discussion time? Because I had something for discussion time, but
We have discussion time at the end too.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that this was a really, 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 really unique experience. And there's not really a word that I can put on it or how I can describe it to the next student reps or how I feel about it, because it's not one emotion that I felt with it or not one lesson that I learned from it. I learned a lot. I've made a couple mistakes with keeping my poker face. It's actually harder than I thought. I'm just grateful. And other than that, like I don't want to cry yet because I might cry during discussion time. So I'm going to try to keep this short right now. But I really do love the bond that I created with Danny and Andrew. And I love that type of bond that also led us to the community and the district itself. And so I am very excited for the coming years and the new student reps, because I do love to see this district grow, which from experience, from records that have showed this district isn't afraid to grow, and it's not scared to learn, and it's not scared to take risks, which I love and admire so much. And I just really hope that it never forgets that part about it. So obviously it's if I could try to describe this in one word, I'd say that it's a whole lesson with various lessons, if that makes sense. But I loved it, and I'm super happy that I did it, and I'm super thankful and grateful and happy about it.
Thank you, Maria. And yes, you will have discussion time at the end. Just a couple of comments on there from Debbie. Just congrats to all of you, and Joe Golay, thank you for your service. We appreciate you and value your thoughts and input. And Francesca, good luck, Maria and Andrew, and thank you, Danny. So is there any more comments or things you want to say? We also have discussion time later, I'm sure. So I'm sure that's what everybody's thinking is we don't want to cry right now. We'll wait for discussion time. It has been a joy, of course, and we're super proud of all of you and your accomplishments. So we're going to move on now to our next item on our agenda, which is the appointment of our student representatives to the board of directors and administer the oath of office. And in order to do that, we need a motion.
I move that the board of directors appoint Maya Smith, Ilham Ikramullah, and Devin Nill to serve as student representatives to the board of directors for the 2021 school year and administer the oath of office.
Second.
So it has been moved by Mark and seconded by Jackie. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes in the chat, and I will read our votes, or aye. Okay. The aye votes are Lisa Allen, Martin Branham, Sheehan Kim, Yadira Martinez, Jackie Spross, and Mark Watson, and myself. The motion carries. And now we will administer the oath of office. So this is going to be a little tricky because usually we have the student reps at front of the podium, and they're reading the same form. So just wanting to make sure that, Rose, do they have the form in front of them as well to be able to read?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll start with our first student rep, Ilham Ikramullah. Let me know when you're able to speak and unmuted. Ilham, are you here? I see you on there. If you're having trouble with the mute it as well, it was Control D, correct? Mute and there you go. Lisa got
Or
it.
Jordan, can you just unmute her?
See if it's working.
Can you hear me?
Yay!
Okay.
Hi, Ilham. So you were gonna do the oath of office, and
Okay.
you have it in front of you. So normally I would just say a sentence and two, and you repeat it back. But since you have it in front of you, I'm just gonna let you take it and speak on it.
Okay. Is it just a sentence where it's the blank?
Just a paragraph, yeah. When you say I and then your name, and then
Okay.
continue.
So, I, Ilham Ikramullah, will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Oregon, and will discharge the duties of student representatives to the Hillsborough School District of Directors in the best of my ability.
Perfect. Then you have this document, which you will sign, and then we'll get it over into our administration. So
Okay.
next, I'm going to do our next student rep, which is Maya Smith.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yay. All right, Maya. So you have that document in front of you as well.
Yes, I do.
Feel free to read when you're ready.
Okay. I, Maya Smith, will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Oregon and will discharge the duties of student representative to the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, Maya. Welcome aboard. And next we have Devlin New. And let me know when you're unmuted, Devlin.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Devlin. Okay, when you're ready.
All right. I, Devlin Nill, will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Oregon and will discharge the duties of student representative to the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Devlin. Welcome aboard. Thank you to all our new student reps. We are so excited to have you. It is awesome that you get to see and experience all this work that we're doing. And I know normally we would have a great picture with all of you, which is part of the process, but we'll get there with time. So thank you so much for joining us. Okay, board, our next item in our agenda is our approval of the agenda. And I would like to ask that whoever makes the motion for the approval of the agenda, if you could amend it to include the COVID-19 update that we weren't able to capture during our work session because of our time. I would appreciate that.
I move that the Board of Directors approve the agenda amended to include the COVID-19 update from the work session as printed.
Second.
I hope that was right.
So it has been moved by Jackie and seconded by Adira. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye in our chat, and I will read the votes. The aye votes are Martin Granum, Adira Martinez, Sheehan Kim, Mark Watson, Lisa Allen, Jackie Spross, and myself. The motion carries. So with that, Mike, do you want to start with that update and then we move into the rest of the items?
That'd be great. Thanks, Erica. We do have a couple folks that are going to provide an update this evening, and we really want to do a couple different things. There, as you know, we've been planning heavily for the opening fall 2020 and what school is going to look like. You're also aware that we received guidance regarding what the Oregon Department of Ed expects from school districts as we work towards that opening. And so it's a pretty comprehensive process, and we've got a number of teams working on that. Travis and Brooke are going to go over that when we get to that portion of things. But I also wanted to let you know that Michelle has a little bit of information for you. You received an email from OSBA today, and it was talking about liability insurance. And I wanted to have Michelle give you just an update on that. We learned about this not long ago ourselves, and we've been waiting for a response from OSBA and COSA. And it looks like there is a tactic at play here, and I wanted to give Michelle an opportunity to bring you up to speed on that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, directors. And this won't take very long. OSBA did send out a communication to all members, and in it gave a pretty good explanation as far as the change to liability coverage for school districts in regards to communicable diseases. So basically, communicable diseases were never explicitly included or excluded from our liability coverage. And what's happened is at this point, given the pandemic, insurers are explicitly excluding it from liability insurance. So that creates a shift for us and kind of opens a liability door that's quite frightening in terms of risk to the district and associated costs with that. And so what OSBA is doing in response to the statewide potential of challenges for school districts and managing school district budgets is they're asking for advocacy letters to be sent that are requesting that the legislature enact a crisis period limit on liability for school districts that are conducting their reopening plans and their services to kids in alignment with the guidance that's been provided from local health authorities and the CDC. So that's just a quick overview of the letter and the kind of the call to action that OSBA is asking for board members to do during the short session. So it is fairly time sensitive. And I'm happy to field any questions you have about that.
Okay, we got a question from Yadira.
Yeah, can you provide us like a sample letter of what we can send in?
Yeah, inside of the OSBA letter, and I can forward that again to the board, is a link that takes you to a template. And so we do have that available, and I'm happy to share that. I will get that to you tonight.
Okay.
Mark?
So if the legislature does not choose to enact this as part of the special session, the basic summary is that it puts the district at severe liability risk of having people in the building, essentially, right?
Well, it opens our exposure because something that wasn't explicitly excluded from coverage before from our insurance pools explicitly excluded now. So in the event that someone believes that that their student or they contracted COVID from a school exposure, if they could trace that back or prove that in a court case, we would be liable up to the limits of the current tort law per incident.
I think if there's anything to take a little refuge in, it's that every district in the state is in this same position. Those people that use PACE as their insurance provider obviously are part of this. But there's districts that also use additional or different insurance providers, and those insurance providers are not providing liability insurance on this either. So this is something that will be dealt with on a broad scale is certainly our hope.
Yeah, and the advocacy letter does include a stipulation that the limit of liability would apply in the event that the district is again, implementing all of the strategies given in the guidelines for the utmost safety, which is what we're in the process of developing. But for districts or organizations that aren't following the guidelines, their risk won't be limited.
Mark, you had another question?
Sorry, yeah. So you sort of just covered it as I was typing in my question mark. So like, based on this, a district who is deemed as reckless could still be held liable.
Yes.
Which really leads us right into the next part of our presentation here. Because we don't intend to be reckless. There really is there's a lot of planning going on around opening fall 2020. And just, to really understate it, this is an incredibly complex process that we're working on. There's still so many unknowns. We know that the guidance that is currently out by the Oregon Department of Ed is likely going to change and be altered to some degree, both in July and in August. We also know that we can't afford to wait and that we need to start working on these plans right now to deliver the best instruction that we possibly can for our students come September. Just to bring just a little insight into what's going on behind the scenes, we are working with the largest districts in the state. There's 5 of us that are partnering, and Travis will talk a little bit about that, but just know that we're working with the 5 largest states, as well as the districts within Washington County, to make sure that we are aligned to the degree possible. Doesn't mean that it's going to look exactly the same, but it does mean that we have the opportunity to have greater insight into what's happening across the region and across the state. It also gives us the opportunity to hopefully look a little more alike than different, and to put everyone's best thinking on that. So we currently have teams established. We know changes are coming. There's going to be iterations, but we feel like we have a process that is going to lead us to the best decision possible. So Travis, would you take it from here?
Thanks, Mike. And thanks for the opportunity to share. Kelly has a PowerPoint with a lot of slides, and my intention tonight is to go through it really quickly to give you an overview, and I'm happy to answer questions if folks want more details. In August, every district in the state and every school will have to submit a blueprint for how to return in the fall. Kelly, go ahead and click one forward. We will be submitting our plan to the county health authorities. We'll be showing our plan to the board, although neither the county nor the board technically need to approve the plan. We need your support. And then finally, we will submit the plan to ODE by August 15th. And this PowerPoint will show you how we're going to get there. Please know that we're going to need to be flexible along the way. We'll be getting updates to the guidance from the Oregon Department of Education and local health authorities, and our plans will change. But this framework will help us be flexible and adaptive. This is an iterative process, and you'll see versions of each component of the plan. So I'm going to hustle through these slides and then answer questions if you have them. So the plan consists of 8 sections. The first 3 are pretty prescriptive, and the blue ones there and equity are left mostly to districts to decide what our approach is going to be. Go ahead and click. You can see in the table of contents what the component pieces of each section are. Go ahead and click. And we're getting more clarity on these sections in future updates from ODE and the guidance. Go ahead and click. Go ahead and click. Go ahead and click. So we've got district level teams that are working together to really create what we're calling sort of the sandbox, or what is the framework for which each school needs to prepare itself. We do want to look more alike than different across our schools and across districts. And so we're going to come up with a framework that works for every school, and schools will work out the nuances, sometimes based on their facilities. What's different between a Reedville versus a Patterson versus a Liberty High School, and sometimes based on programming, like schools that have dual language programs. Sometimes their plan will have differences from other schools. Go ahead and click. So our district level teams are structured into we have a kind of the steering team, which is the HSD blueprint team, focused on equity, inclusion, and access. So that's everybody from Mike and cabinet level positions to representation from our affinity group of licensed staff of color, Native American Education Program lead, reps for our PAC, etc. So that team meets twice a week, and we are the team that makes sure that there's coherence and equity in everything that we do in our plan. Click, please. We have questions established for our equity lens, making sure that our approach fits with HSD's equity policy, and we have clear responsibility for Section 4 of that plan for August 15th. Please click. And that team hears reports each week from 4 district leadership groups: the Communications and Partnerships team led by Beth, Operations led by Casey, Teaching and Learning led by Dale, and Human Resources and Business led by Kana and Michelle. And coincidentally, as we coordinate with the big 5 districts across the state, our working groups are in these same categories, including a team that's focused on equity and coherence, which is our Blueprint team. So level alike folks and colleagues across districts are making sure that in these components, from transportation to classrooms, our districts look more alike than different. Please click. So this is a breakout. I know that board members, you have this slide deck. This just shows organizational charts under each of the categories and which things those teams will need to address. And those leaders, including Jordan, who's in multiple sections, are orchestrating a series of work groups so that we can answer each part of the blueprint and work together. Please click.
I was gonna ask you, Travis, about that breakdown. I just wanted to ask about the technology piece and if that fits into one of those subcategories.
It does. It fits in actually all of them to some extent, but in particular, we have technology built into the communications and our communication structures web-based. We have in operations, we have technology, which is the category kind of how, like our infrastructure. And then in teaching and learning, we have technology with more of a lens like on professional development for teachers, family engagement, so that kids have access as part of our distance learning plan. That's Jordan and Alano and Megan and others are wrapped up in several working teams because technology is part of the whole deal. I hope that answers your question, Erica. So the operations breakdown, you can see a tree of projects underneath operations. Click, Kelly, please. And then when you get into the tree with teaching and learning, there are many different areas of work. This shows a breakdown of representatives who work on our elementary plan with Fran. Please click. Secondary plan with Dale and Audria. Please click. And then you'll see real specific things called out in the guidance around response to outbreak and short-term closures if there were COVID infections in a school, for example, family engagement, technology, mental, social, and emotional health, and the leaders marked next to those. Also a PD plan for teachers and for families. Please click. So that's the org chart underneath Dale as she reports back to the Blueprint team. And many of us are involved in these component pieces. Please click. Final team is the Human Resources and Business area, negotiating contracts, risk management, fiscal considerations, and our calendar for next year. Please click. So at the school level, principals have been part of this organizational structure as they gather their school level teams for a couple different purposes, for communication and transparency, but also that feedback loop on the district plan. And as it translates to the school level, what are the nuances at our school? How are we going to implement this plan? And how do we have our blueprint ready so that everybody knows how school will work in the fall at our elementary school or at our high school? Please click. So elementary teams are gathering these folks to be stakeholders in their process. Please click. Secondary schools have similar, but nuances like advising and graduation and on-trackness of 9th graders and 10th graders. That work continues in this plan. Click, please. So this is a timeline that was as of a week ago when I gave you guys this PowerPoint, and this has been updated since, but I'm going to go through it so you can see the scope of work in what is going to be what should take a year and a half or 2 years to plan. We're going to plan in about a month. So this is how it's going to work briefly. ODE is going to give us updates to the guidance in versions 2.0 or 2.5 or 3.1 as we go through the summer. So we need to be ready to respond to that. Please click. And then internally, we have draft dates for when principals get their workbooks and are able to do their staffing. But again, that's contingent upon the legislature and when we understand our funding picture. Please click. So this last week, we oriented our administrators. We established a website. We came up with structures and a calendar for leadership. We assembled our teams, and we don't do hot news over the summer, but we are going to be communicating out via email on our website. Please click. This week, we got into our rhythm. Each Monday, we meet in cabinet, and we meet as the HSD Blueprint team. On Tuesdays, each of the leadership core groups meets at 8, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock so that they don't overlap and they can go to each other's planning meetings. And we have school level meetings in the afternoons. What principals are doing is orienting themselves and their teams to the scope of this work and looking at their floor plans and their site maps as a first step. They'll get tasks each week and be in sync with each other. And then on Wednesdays, we have a number of working groups meeting from that org chart that you saw. And Thursdays, we wrap up the week with the HSD Blueprint team again to hear reports and apply our equity lens and make sure that our plan is coherent. And we'll get hot news-ish updates out to stakeholders, and a school board update will happen this week at this time. Please click. There will be no meetings next week for the leadership groups. Please click. And then we get back in the following week to this rhythm of the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with different tasks to do each week. Please click. And this is the boring part that you don't need to read all the details. Just know that each week we have assignments. Please click. Please click. Keep going. And then structurally, this is the genius of Alano Chiliberto, who now makes us online workspaces for almost everything we do. We'll have an accountability structure where each chapter of, or each section of the blueprint will have a point person reporting back and giving updates. And the board, you'll have access to our a template that looks blue and ODE-ish like this on our external facing website with weekly updates in each of the sections 1 through 8. And you'll be able to feel like you understand what progress we're making. The progress will be slow at first because the big work has to happen among the big 5 districts and with the Oregon Department of Education. And then school-based work and details will come out later in July. Our hope is that what we'll be able to do at the end of July is pivot toward communicating with our community about what's happening so that families can get ready for school in the fall. In the middle of July, we'll have a real robust set of opportunities to get stakeholder feedback. And we have tons of stakeholders involved right now in the process at the school-based and at the district-based level. So despite the fact that the plans will need to shift and we'll need to react and create iterations, we hope that this structure will keep us tight with each other, communication flowing and updates going across function areas so that we can keep each other in mind and make sure the plan has coherence, again, with equity at the foundation of it. So I'm happy to answer questions about this or any other aspect of what's going on with the blueprint plan.
You're going to have questions right now. I just wanted to confirm that what you're telling, like when we have a lot of community members that are asking, when will we know what the plan is first we need to get through this kind of legislative process, find out what that looks like. The big 5 districts kind of meet and talk, and in July is when they can go to our website and find the information and be updated on a weekly basis or.
Yeah, the plan is to, and this may shift because of the tightness of the timeline. Our plan is to have a template that has each section, each of the 8 sections of the blueprint, and weekly updates posted within that graphic. And so you'll be able to see that starting now. You can see the template. It just doesn't have anything populated other than it says we're forming leadership teams for the week of June 15th. Hoping to have a more detailed update after Thursday afternoon's blueprint team meeting.
Okay, thank you. You have a question from Mark, Lisa, and then Andrew.
Thanks. In my wasn't related to the question, but since you just mentioned it, I wouldn't expect budgetary clarity that soon. It's not really coming up in the special session tomorrow. So it's not what we want to hear, but I'm just trying to tell you the truth.
Trying to stay optimistic here, Mark.
So 2 questions, I guess 2.5. With the academic calendar ending for our licensed staff, can you tell me a little bit or explain how we're going to keep the voice of teachers engaged in this plan?
Yeah, our principals and our district leaders are offering extended contract for folks who are interested in participating. We've recruited teams.
Excellent. Okay, thanks. The 1.5 question is, do we expect considerable variability between our schools, the plan for our schools? Like you sort of mentioned, Reedville looks very different than Katama, for example. And then sort of with that related, if we are managing hotspots or outbreaks that are localized to a school, do we expect that to just impact that school, or do we expect the impacts to be district-wide?
I couldn't speak on behalf of the local health authority and what they would ask us to do, but the plan explicitly calls out that each school and each district needs to have a specific short-term closure plan, which they say should span 14 to 28 days. What that leads me to believe is the expectation would be that a particular school community could be closed for a short period of time and then have a reentry plan while all other business happened as usual. And then your first question, that's one of the reasons that we want to look similar across our own district, but across other districts as well. We get a lot of parent feedback that, my students go to school in Hillsborough, but I work some other place, and the work schedule is going to adapt to how the school is. So if one district's doing 1 week off, 1 week on, and another district's doing A day and B day, how am I going to reconcile my work life with my school life and all that? So we've made a pact as the large districts to create continuity so that we can look similar. And that's going to have an impact about how families live their lives, but it also will have an impact, like you mentioned, on closure and safety.
Awesome. Thank you. I do not envy the task you have in front of you, but you have my complete trust.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Lisa, and then Andrew.
Thank you. Okay, I have a couple questions and a couple comments. My first question, I'm sorry to re-ask it, but I don't think that you actually answered it. And I think inquiring minds want to know. When do we expect to have a clear plan finalized for what the fall will look like based on what ODE is releasing and our work with the other districts? Are we thinking mid-August or like something concrete like that would be super helpful? That's my first question.
Yeah, I can pretty much guarantee, unless they shift the guidance, that we will need a clear plan by August 15th. Okay. And that's due to the Oregon Department of Education. The board has a retreat on the 7th, and we hope to have the plan to you at that time. And we'll updates and with the health authorities creating clarity on at least the plan. And our timeline right now ends at about the beginning of August. I can tell you though, like Mark was alluding to, that part of this conversation is out of our control when it comes to knowing the timeline for funding and staffing. And so right up until the point we figure out what resources we have and which plan matches those resources, we're going to be creating contingencies, and we're going to be looking at different models, and we're going to get feedback on those models, and they'll be well vetted. But then there will be a moment of reality when we know what we're doing with staffing and how to run our schools. And so again, I've been pleading with everyone, please understand that there will be places to be engaged and informed, but we won't have clarity and certainty until a pretty late date.
Thank you. And then my other comments are more feedback about what the plan might look like and some things that I know that you all are considering, but just to echo that from the board perspective. As a parent of younger kids, elementary school aged kids who are not legally allowed to stay home alone, I am very concerned about what the return to school is going to look like in the fall when other things in the community are reopening, and both parents in my home will have to go out into the world and work full time in person, most likely. One of us works in a school, so if schools are all remote, then that might be, that's me, that might be good. But if not, then everybody adult is going to be gone, and the kids may not be in school every single day, all day. And that creates some really serious challenges. And I know that is, is exponential throughout our community. There are a lot of parents in that situation, even right now. But as more things reopen, as we get into phase 2 and 3, that's going to be even more of a concern. And so I just want to make sure that is part of what we're considering. I don't know if the solution is probably something better that I haven't thought of, but something like secondary students are remote only, and we use that space to expand where elementary school kids maybe go so they can all be in school safely. Or maybe it is asking families, hey, can you opt yourselves into remote only if that works for your family, so we have more space for the people who can't do that, or something like that. But we have a significant chunk of kids who can't be by themselves, and there isn't childcare. And what are we going to do about that? So I just want to make sure that that's part of the consideration.
I hear you, and I appreciate that. Many families are in the spot that you're describing, and challenges like that have a disproportionate impact on some families in our community that we want to protect against. We also, in addition to the ideas like the one you're describing about prioritizing younger students and opening up campuses in different ways, we have a squad called the Community Partnerships and After School Programming Team. And so they're working on figuring out some solutions that might be countywide, and some of them might be local for school-age child care. We noticed we have experience in our school-age care emergency facility for first responders and critical service providers from the spring. And I think we've got some lessons learned, and we understand how important that part of the work is too. So those are early conversations, because everyone is starting to realize what it means when September happens and if students are in fact in school part-time and doing distance learning at other times. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Lisa. And just for us to be aware of our time check, we are running behind. So we'll try to be succinct in our questions and answers. So we have Andrew and then Jackie on deck.
Thank you, Erica. Just a comment that I saw the website when it first came out, the Blueprint website. I'm super glad that we're being transparent to the best, or to the extent that we can be. I imagine that the website will be updated whenever we get major updates in the plan, which I'm super excited to hear about. I know that I'll be doing this, and I hope that the other outgoing and incoming student reps will do this as well, in terms of just letting other students know about the website, where it is, because I imagine that's going to have the most up-to-date information. And I'm also glad that we have that schedule put in place in terms of when the Blueprint team will meet and what will be discussed, just so we can have as much communication within the departments as possible.
Thanks, Andrew. Jackie?
Thank you, Andrew.
I think Lisa already kind of touched on this, is about making, if possible, to group students by family, as far as if they go, depending on what the plan is, right? So that the kids in the same family go to school on the same day, if it ends up being a hybrid. So, and my other question is, are there plans, once we have the blueprint and we know what we're going to do, are there plans to do a dry run similar to what we did with the reunification drill at the stadium? Not with real kids, but with maybe the public or parents or us or somebody, to do a dry run to see what's working and maybe fix some bugs or some bumps in the road before we actually put it in place?
Mm-hmm. For the first part of your question, yes, there is a conversation about keeping families intact and served together. One of the easiest reasons to talk about that is that when you are facing restrictions on bus spacing and seating, siblings can sit with each other on the bus, for example. And so that helps us get more students in a bus into school. The second question, we aren't doing we don't currently have a plan for like a fake school day, but we will be running summer schools. Both our extended school year and our migrant summer programs will be running some in-person learning, and we'll be implementing all of the safety protocols that are required for summer school, which are actually a little more stringent than fall. But it'll help us practice things like health checks on buses, things like who wears what types of personal protective equipment. How do we help students play and learn together, physically distanced? And so one of the reasons that we're excited to do summer school is because some students need our support on-ramping into next year. And the other reason is that it'll help us work out some of these kinks. So our teams, our facilities teams and our nurses are working to put together those plans way ahead of the fall because of the summer school necessity. Again, I also do want to remind people we did do a care facility at Century High School for the last couple months. So we've also learned how to take care of students and staff there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Travis. And then we also have, just a clarification, our retreat is on the 5th, and then we have Danny and then Ehon.
Sorry, thank you, Erica.
Okay, mine is sort of a clarifying question because I think I might have missed it. So if we're doing, if we're looking at possibly doing a hybrid model where some days or some students are online, some days or some students are in the classroom, my question would be, would that be one teacher for the in-classroom or one teacher for the online? And if so, how are we going to sort of facilitate that teacher having enough time paid to prepare all those lessons, and also that teacher having enough time like to both prepare those lessons and then also like still have time for themselves? Because I've been talking with teachers with the way that my life works out. I live with the teacher. Teachers are sort of in my area, and I know that planning the online lessons has been taking, if not the same amount, but longer than doing the in-classroom lessons. And so if they're going to be planning in-class lessons on top of that, I just see that being a problem in the long run, especially with us looking at operating on a budget deficit this year.
I hear you. Great question. And both those models that you described are in play, and we don't have those details yet to offer, but I can tell you that ideas like teams of teachers teaching, and some being experts in digital and some being opportunities for in-person learning are on the table, as well as the idea that a single teacher could serve, half of students online and half in person. The workload issues that you surface are real, and the job of a teacher and a job of a counselor and a job of a instructional assistant are changing right now. So one of the things we're doing is we have Jill and Melody and Debbie in the conversation at the Blueprint team, just to provide that lens too on what is the working life of a teacher right now when it comes to serving a classroom of kids, partly digitally and partly in person, hopefully. Our plan is to create what we're calling a robust distance learning plan with opportunities to learn in person as those are possible. So Danny, your question is great. I don't have an answer for what that model will look like.
Thank you, Danny. Elam, you had a question?
Yeah. So distance learning became a thing like in the middle of a semester, and like, are we ever going to learn the things we were supposed to learn during that time? Because I feel like if everything goes right and we have like a straight plan, there's going to be a gap, especially for like incoming freshmen, and not only that, but like just people who are going to be taking higher classes as well. If there's going to be a gap of not knowing, so are the teachers just going to have to reteach everything, or is there going to be like a time period where we just redo everything from the year before?
Yeah, thank you. Elam, nice to meet you, by the way, and welcome to the board. Thanks for asking a question. We have instructional leaders right now looking at standards. I know not everyone's a fan of standards-based education in the Common Core, but one real blessing in this era is that per grade level, we have moved to teaching to standards, state level standards and national standards. And so we know what was missed, and we know which students missed a significant amount of content. And so going into next year, what we're talking about is how to go back and the standards from, say, third grade math or algebra, and making sure that we accelerate students into learning next year, scooping up what was missed, revisiting that, and making sure that we get through standards for the next year. And so I think that's going to have to do with some real creativity with our planning team in the way we build our curriculum maps for next year.
Thank you, Travis and Anna.
Sorry, I kind of wanted to add on to that. So would that affect graduation? Because, like, I know for juniors this year, they didn't take SATs or ACTs. And not only that, but, like, I know during the school year, we take, like, work samples, and it's required to graduate. So would that affect us graduating?
No, a lot of changes were made this spring to make sure that students graduated, and that has to do with grading and credit accomplishment and all those things. So those are state level questions right now, and we're getting some clarity and some guidance on what graduation requirements will be and what the flexibility is. But with what's in our control, we're going to help every kid meet the finish line. I don't see us having students not have the support they need to graduate.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Is there anything else on the COVID update, Mike?
Sorry, I was struggling to unmute there. No, those were the two things those were the two areas that we wanted to bring you up to speed on.
Okay, thank you. So our next item on our agenda, I'm going to recess our board meeting, and we are going to be entering into our budget hearing. So the first item of business will be to conduct the budget hearing for the 2021 budget. This is the final public hearing prior to board adoption of the budget document, which the Budget Committee approved on May 12th. This is a time for public testimony. The board will have an opportunity for questions and comments during the action item portion of the agenda. Any patron who wishes to speak should complete an intent to speak form located on the top of the HSD website and submitted to the executive assistant to the board, Rose Roman, at romanr@hsd.k12.or.us. Is there any public testimony?
So there were two responses to the intent to speak link that was put out for the budget hearing specifically. They aren't necessarily budget related, but they also aren't long. So I don't know if you want me to read them now or wait till the regular audience time.
So they're not tied to the budget, but they're just general comments, and I would move them to our regular audience times to make sure that they're captured there.
Okay, then you don't have any for the budget hearing. All right, yeah, for the budget hearing.
Thank you, Beth. So I'm declaring our budget hearing closed, and we are adjourned hearing and reconvening our board meeting. So now we have our audience time for our regular board meeting, and I'm just going to read our audience participation statement. Sorry, we just had a question pop up. Andrew, you said, do board members need to vote on the consent agenda? That's further down in our, yes, they do, but it's further down on our list. Okay, our audience statement says, public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BDDH. Visitors who wish to speak before the board must complete an intent to speak card available on the top of our website and provided to the executive assistant to the board of directors, Rose Roman. Comments concerning a published agenda item are limited to its designated place on the agenda unless otherwise authorized by the board. Comments about non-agenda items will be heard at this time. Speakers should state their name and if speaking for an organization, the name of the organization. A spokesperson should be designated to represent a group with a common purpose. 3 minutes will be allowed for an individual speaker. 5 minutes will be allowed for a visitor who speaks on behalf of the group. Speakers may offer objective criticism of district operations and programs, but in public sessions, the board will not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. Commendations involving staff members should be sent to the superintendent. Channels for the board's review of legitimate complaints involving individuals include Board Policy KL, public complaints. If appropriate, the board chair will connect the visitor with an administrator to receive comments regarding personnel. Any hearing conducted before the board regarding personnel shall take place in an executive session. The board thanks all visitors for their presence and appreciates the input of community members. Go ahead, Beth.
All right. First, we have Thad Fisco, and he says that he would like to address the board about a solution to disinfecting your schools. We are reaching out to local schools to get back to school. And he adds a web address. Okay, and our second one is from Kiernan Hoggard. He is an HSD parent, and his question is, how will the Hillsborough School District adapt to ensure students are able to have ample opportunity to explore military careers and college scholarships? Will they be given time to address students?
Just to give a little feedback there, that's a question that comes up periodically, and Brooke is actually pretty adept at providing an answer for that. So why don't we forward that email address to Brooke, and she can respond with an answer there.
Thank you, Mike. All right, fellow board members, our next item on our agenda is our consent agenda, and I'm looking for a motion.
I move that the board of directors accept the consent agenda.
I second.
So it has been moved by Adira and seconded by Lisa. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye in the chat. Votes are Mark Watson, Yadira Martinez, Jackie Sprouse, Sheehan Kim, Martin Granum, Lisa Allen, and myself. The motion carries. Our next item on our agenda is reports and discussion. And we have the budget committee vacancies with Michelle.
Yes, I just want to give a thank you to both Christopher Clark and Michael Smith, who were appointed to positions 1 and 2 back in 2017. They have fulfilled a 3-year term on the budget committee and engaged in the orientation process all the way through hearing and adoption for those periods, and just want to thank them for that. We are announcing the vacancies, and we'll have applications out on the district website. Due back, eligible applicants will submit their applications by September 8th, 2020, and then we will look for appointment in October. Just to note that our budget committee is aligned with the other committees of the board, and we'll be looking for applicants that specifically reflect the diversity that we have in the students that we serve.
Thank you, Michelle. The next item that we have under reports and discussions is Community Curriculum Advisory Committee vacancies with Travis.
Thank you. Parallel to what Michelle was describing, we have 7 folks continuing with their terms in the CCAC, and 7 are up. Some of those folks will be reapplying by September 8th. We had 3 students graduate, and 2 students are continuing. Jasmine from Hill High and Eduardo from Hill High. So we're looking for some students, and we'll be recruiting some students as well from our other high schools. We do a survey of each of the CCAC members. We call it a self-census, where we look at demographic information and lenses that folks can bring to the CCAC. We've done that for about 4 years now in an attempt to diversify our committee and make it representative of the community. I'll share that data with the board in a raw form in a board update, but it has personally identifiable information in it. In summary, though, the CCAC surfaced the fact that they would like more and more student voice in the committee, and that those voices have been important. They'd also like community members with connections to underserved groups, for example, LGBTQ plus communities, communities of folks who may have experienced homelessness or know or serve families who experience homelessness or houselessness, Black, Native American, and Latinx family-connected community members as well. So continue, please, board members, to recruit diverse neighbors to be a part of our CCAC. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you, Travis. Let me see here. Our next item is our financial report with Michelle Morrison.
Thank you, Erica. As usual, we have my monthly board, just business office update. And just most notably, I just want to really thank staff and folks within the HR department for their huge lift, engaging in the work share process to kind of balance out our furlough days over this interim period. And that's been a heavy lift, and it's a complicated program, and they've just done a terrific job on that. So that's probably one of the biggest items on there. I'm happy to answer any questions about the statistics. Ironically, you can see that our incidents have dropped way off. It's not going to impact our liability rates. I already tried. They're going to still continue to increase for next year. Also, you can see our cash flow report is current through the end of May. So not included in this cash flow are the June payrolls, which include both 3 paychecks for each classified and licensed staff, and will reflect the furlough day pay deductions. So those are some things that we're waiting to see play out as we close out the fiscal year. Happy to answer any questions and am available at any time to discuss our financial position outside of board meetings as well.
Thank you, Michelle. If I don't see anybody commenting on there, so we are moving on to our next item, which is our action items. And the first one is to adopt resolutions to adopt the 2021 budget and appropriate the 2021 budget, and impose 2021 taxes and categorize the tax levy. So I am looking for a motion.
I move that the Board of Directors adopt the resolutions to adopt the 2021 budget, appropriate the 2021 budget, and impose 2021 taxes and categorize the levy as shown in the June 23rd, 2020 board meeting packets.
Second.
So it has been moved by Mark and seconded by Yadira. All those in favor signify by voting aye or nay on the chat. I should say in favor or opposed. Okay, the ayes are Lisa Allen, Jackie Spross, Mark Watson, Yadira Martinez, Martin Granum, Sheehan Kim, and myself. The motion carries. The next item that we have is to adjust appropriations, and there is a motion on your packet in your agenda.
I can do that one. I move that the Board of Directors approve the adjusted appropriations for general and listed in the June 23rd, 2020 board meeting packet.
Second.
So it has been moved by Lisa and seconded by Martin. Is there any discussion? Forgot to be asking them. Okay, seeing none, please signify if you're in favor by typing aye in our chat or nay. The ayes are Keith Fox, Lisa Allen, Sheehan Kim, Mark Watson, Yadira Martinez, Martin Branham, and myself. The motion carries. Our next item is accept gifts and donations.
I move that the Board of Directors accept the donation of $15,000 from North Plains PTO to North Plains Elementary School to be used for reader.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Sheehan and seconded by Mark. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye in the chat, or nay if you oppose. Okay, the ayes are Yadira Martinez, Lisa Allen, Sheehan Kim, Martin Branham, Mark Watson, Jackie Spross, and myself. The motion carries. Our next item is to award a contract for construction of interior renovations, site improvements, and gymnasiums at Ladd Acres Elementary School, McKinney Elementary School, and Jackson Elementary School.
I move that the Board of Directors award the contract for construction management / general contractor services as follows. Interior renovation, site improvements, and gymnasium construction at Ladd Acres Elementary School to Lise Krucher Lewis. Interior renovation, site improvements, and gymnasium construction at McKinney Elementary School to Perlow Construction. Interior renovation, site improvements, and gymnasium construction at Jackson Elementary School to Kirby Nagelhut Construction.
Second.
Second.
So it has been moved by Martin, and I heard Mark first, and seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion? If there isn't, please vote by signifying aye or nay on our chat. Okay. The ayes are Jackie Spross, Yadira Martinez, Lisa Allen, Sheehan Kim, Mark Watson, Martin Branham, and myself. The motion carries. Our next item is approve extension of superintendent's contract.
I'll do this one. Are you ready for a motion? Sorry, I got a little excited.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. I move that the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors approves the individual contract with the superintendent effective July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2023.
Second.
So it has been moved by Lisa and seconded by Sheehan. Is there any discussion? Okay, there is a comment from Jackie.
Mike, I just want to make sure everybody, and I'm sure everybody already knows this, that a school district is only as good and productive and transparent and only continues to grow with a great superintendent. So thank you. You accomplished all of that and more.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Jackie. I also just want to mention that this is a journey that we're on, and I am really happy to have Mike and Martin. We've gotten really close in our vice chair and chair positions and learning a lot more of what it takes to run a district, and it's a lot. So we just thank you so much for your commitment to our school district and your continued work, and we look forward to all the changes and growth that are to come. So thank you, Mike. All right, so all those in favor, please signify by voting aye in the chat. Okay, the aye votes are Yadira Martinez, Martin Branham, Mark Watson, Lisa Allen, Jackie Spross, and Sheehan Kim, and myself. The motion carries. Our next item is to approve the 2021 board meeting dates. Did you have anything to say on this, Mike, before I move on, or is this ready? I think we already discussed.
Yeah, this is ready to go.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
I move that the Board of Directors approves the board meeting dates for the 2020-2021 school year.
Second.
So it has been moved by Jackie and seconded by Adira. Is there any discussion? Okay, Andrew has a comment and Mark has a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I hope that this was planned around Lisa Allen's wedding anniversary trip that was initially planned. I'm not sure if that happened, but I know at the first meeting, Lisa decided to hold me accountable a little bit because I was on vacation, even though I was able to call in. So I just want to make sure that this is all that Lisa was okay with the dates.
You're welcome, Andrew, for all of those lovely memories that you will take with you forever about how I gave you a hard time anytime. I have your back. And yes, we did have to postpone our anniversary trip. Thank you for remembering. And we're going to plan it around the board meeting date, so don't worry.
Don't worry, you're not the only one she holds accountable, so it's okay. Welcome to the club. Next question with Mark.
That was funny. If we're considering as part of our blueprint to hold classes with students in classrooms in the fall, do we anticipate having any board meetings with humans in the room in the fall?
So we've held off making a recommendation on that. One of the things that we were kind of hanging our hat on just at this point in time is that the governor had school activities until June 30th. And so we really have been putting off that decision until we get greater clarity of where we are in our public health situation. So, we could do that. We would have to obviously practice physical distancing. We could make that optional. I can tell you, last time we did the optional thing and we had some in person and some online, that was a struggle for us. It's easier one way or the other. So I would say we play it by ear a little bit. It sounds like we're going to add one in July, just a work session in July. We probably should continue this format for that. And then by mid-July and early August, I would assume that we will have greater clarity on to what our meeting options are going to be at that time.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm not advocating one way or the other. Just curious if we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
I was just going to add, Mike, I think the other concern is also when we have our student reps as well with what Michelle shared today about that liability is we have to be careful of making sure we're protected and also that we have some protocols around there. In regards to our retreat that we have coming up in August, I just wanted to advocate that we find a space where we may be able to be more in an open area that's like covered. If we're outdoors, it's a lot safer. So I just wanted to point that out. If there's an opportunity for us to find a space, I have an idea of somewhere that I'll let you know offline. But
if you could forward any ideas, that would be great. I do understand that Mark Watson has a nice backyard, but I don't know if that would be appropriate. But yeah, please send any ideas and we will pursue that.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor, please vote by signifying aye or opposed nay on the chat, please. Okay, the aye votes are Martin Granum, Lisa Allen, Mark Watson, Yadira Martinez, Sheehan Kim, Jackie Spross. All right, we are just going through these really fast. All right, our next item on the agenda is to elect our chair and vice chair for our next year. So you all received in your packet the process, the election process, and just a reminder that nominations do not require a second. So I will just open the floor for nominations.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate you, Erica Loper, Board Chair.
I saw Yadira's unmute as well. I think he was going to speak.
I was going to make you say nomination, but Martin beat me to it.
I'm sorry, Yadira. I've been waiting for months to say that. I couldn't wait.
It's So we're, this is nominations for chair. So if there are any other nominations, you speak now. Okay. So now let's go to the vice chair and hold our nominations for vice chair, and then we'll move to a formal motion for both chair and vice chair. So are there any nominations for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Martin Granum for vice chair.
Any other nominations? Okay, so I'll need a motion to close nominations now that we have.
I move to close the nominations for board and vice chair, chair and vice chair positions.
Second, if you need one.
So it has been moved by Yadira and seconded by Mark. Nominations are closed. Please signify by voting aye. Okay. The ayes are Yadira Martinez, Jackie Spross, Mark Watson, Lisa Allen, Chien Kim, and Martin Granum, and myself. The motion carries. So now we are proceeding to vote on the nominees. So I am looking for a motion.
Do they have separate? Sorry.
Go ahead, Yadira.
Do they have to be separate motions? Like, do we have to make one motion for chair and then one motion for vice chair? Or can we do a
Rose, can you clarify that, Rose? Can we do it in one, or do we have to do different ones?
Two different ones.
So, I move to appoint Erica Lopez as chair of the Hillsborough Board of Directors.
Second.
Do we vote, Rose?
I'm trying to second it. Second Yadira's motion, but my microphone's being crazy. Sorry.
Okay, so it has been moved by Yadira and seconded by Lisa. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, sorry. I put my question mark here. But so are we doing this right, Rose? Do we vote? Because if there were two people running, we would vote. If there's only one, do we just make a motion for that person, or do we vote still?
We're going to make a motion to elect Erica, a motion to elect Mark, and then vote.
Okay. So, but if we had two candidates, we would make a motion for each of them and then vote? Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, please signify by voting aye or nay in our chat. Okay. The ayes are Martin Granum, Mark Watson, Yadira Martinez, Lisa Allen, Chien Kim, Jackie Spross, and myself. The motion carries. Thank you all. And now I'm looking for a motion for our vice chair nomination. Or appointment, I should say.
I move to appoint Martin Granum to the position of vice chair of the Hillsborough School Board.
Second.
So it has been moved by Mark and seconded by Chien. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please signify by voting aye or yes or no on our chat. Thank you. Okay, the ayes are Yadira Martinez, Lisa Allen, Mark Watson, Jackie Spross, Chien Kim, Martin Granum, and myself. The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Okay, our next item on our agenda is our policies first reading with Mike.
All right, back to policies. I know we just finished the big review and we made it through all of them, but in the time that elapsed as we were doing that, there, of course, are other policies that are needing updating. So what you're going to see here are the policies that we're recommending for 30-day review. And we can, you can see what they are there, and there's information attached. I can tell you that policies in section A and B, those are minor changes, basically words here and there, as well as legal references, no substantial content change whatsoever there. Michelle, do you want to say just a few words about yours?
I do, yeah. This is a policy that actually requires annual action by statute. So this one's going to come up every year for you guys to take a peek at and approve, related to the capital project funds that we have and that we're investing. One of the minor change that we made to the actual language that doesn't change whether or not it needs to be reviewed every year is that the local government investment pool, which is where we, it's like our district savings account. We're required to keep our funds there. Anything in surplus can be invested according to this policy, but there's a limit to the amount that a district can have in their accounts with the local government investment pool. And what we've done is change to the policy language to allow us to align with that amount as it changes every year. So we took it from the static dollar amount that was in the policy before and just changed it to align with the index as it changes every year, so that part won't have to be changed. But this policy will still continue to come up annually for review.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mike, would it be okay if I introduce Brooke to make a few statements about her policy also?
Please.
So the Addie's Act requires district action to adopt a policy, but it also requires a plan. And Brooke Nova and her incredible team have created a plan for us. And I wanted the board to be aware of that and that goes along with the policy, and then be able to ask Brooke and her team questions in the 30-day review period if you would like to do so. So Brooke, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I just want to provide a brief overview of Senate Bill 52. It did pass in legislation in 2019, and by the beginning of 2021, we must have a policy and a comprehensive plan in place. Luckily for us, we had a comprehensive plan, so it gave us a time to review and enhance our plan, looking at suicide intervention, prevention, intervention, and postvention. So with a team of both counseling professionals and health educator professionals, we began this process 6 months ago to review our plan and to make those enhancements. We also have worked in community partnership with the Department for Human Services, with Washington County, Lines for Life. And then also we've been working with Washington County school district leaders on our plan and working in partnership of how do we engage our community partners in family outreach, in community partnership, because we know that we're going into a time where this is more important than ever to look at suicide intervention and prevention in terms of student mental health and emotional support. So that's been a great process in cross-agency, but also cross-collaboration with other school district leaders as well. When you look at the recommended policy that's before you, I just want to take the recommendations of OSBA's policy, that's what is in front of you, and looked at each bullet to make sure that our comprehensive plan meets the communication, the training, and the education of each bullet. That is put together in a Google site that is internally shared with every HSD employee, as well as we have looked at external communication on our HSD website to ensure that we're meeting those bolded policy action items as well. So I really encourage, if you have any questions as you go through the policy, feel free to reach out to me. And I really look forward to answering your questions, and also more the comprehensive work of mental and behavioral and emotional health support and outreach that is more crucial than ever going into next year.
And just to add a little bit to that, we have added Brooke to the retreat agenda to talk about the mental health work that we're doing as we begin to welcome students back. That's significant work that we've been mindful of for the last several months, and just wanted the board to be aware of that work in a more in-depth way. So she will be joining us for the board retreat as well.
Thank you, Mike and Brooke. We look forward to that. We have a comment or question with Yadira.
I have just, it's like a comment question maybe regarding the volunteer policy. And so for me, I just want to maybe know a little bit more about like the administrative process. I don't have a problem with the policy itself, but when we allow volunteers into our schools, is there a vetting that takes place regarding especially our DEI values of the district? So making sure that the volunteers that come into our school are on board with those values, so we don't like inadvertently expose our kids to like biases and prejudices, you know, by others. Yes.
I'm happy to speak up a little bit about that, Yadira. Question. I think part of it is that, you know, we have these policies in place for volunteers because we want to create inclusive practices to promote opportunities for our volunteers and to be a part of that. But we are always refining and fine-tuning those pieces, and they go through a process as they work through an online application to be a part of the volunteer in our schools. And so in terms of some of those pieces, some of that may be done at the building level with the administrator and potentially through a work with the teacher as well. It just depends on the avenue of volunteering that takes place within the building.
I guess just a follow-up to that, Con, I'm wondering if in that process of, you know, the online process or application, there could be a statement or a commitment that our volunteers also sign on to uphold those values. Is there some way, I guess, to restate that for our volunteers so that everybody gets it regardless of what space they're in our district?
I could help with that as well. That would be an easy thing for us to probably not only add to the volunteer handbook, but also to ask for tech services to add as a checkbox when people are in filling out their volunteer application.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to address the issue that Yadira is bringing up. We obviously are limited in the amount of and type of background questions that we could ask about beliefs and that kind of thing, but we can state our values and we can get a commitment that those values will be upheld. So I think that's a good way of getting at that.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions on our policy? Okay, so we are moving to our next item on our agenda, which is HCU and HEA reports. So I see June. And it's Melody.
I can go ahead if you want. I'm Debbie with HCU, the bargaining officer. I'm taking Melody's place tonight due to she's on vacation. Lucky her. Anyway, things kind of slowed down a little bit in our office. We do still have quite a bit of 12-month employees that we're dealing with certain things, but all in all, it's kind of nice too. And I think we also understand, you know, that layoffs may be necessary coming forward, but we hope that they're not as bad as we first thought, and we hope that you know, that we will hopefully will go somewhat unscathed, but you know, it just kind of depends on that budget. But anyway, and I want to acknowledge including us in the blueprint plan. We appreciate that, and definitely look forward to getting some feedback from members as well as even, you know, people in our community. So thank you. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, everyone. Jill Golay, and nice to see everyone this evening. And I see some of you are outside like I am, so that's nice to be outside. I just wanted to say, yes, I'm very happy about being part of the Blueprint team. We did meet on Monday. We'll meet again on Thursday. I think it's really important that both HCU and HEA have a seat at the table to share the perspective of and the lens of the teachers and what their concerns are as we try to navigate what the fall is going to look like. I can share with you that some of the teachers that are teaching will be teaching K-5 or believe that they'll be teaching K through 5 are concerned about the governor and the requirement about potentially students at that age, that younger age, not being required to have a mask on in the brick and mortar setting. And so I've had a lot of teachers reach out with that concern and that worry. But I know we have a lot to do, and I'm looking forward to rolling up our sleeves and working together to address all of the needs of the educators. I do want to talk a little bit and recognize that that LGBTQ. This is June, and it's a time for us to recognize both Juneteenth that just happened, but also LGBTQ, and recognize that this month is Pride Month, and while June is Pride Month and an opportunity for us to recognize the impact of LGBTQ people have had on the world. LGBTQ history is U.S. history, and really every month is an excellent time for us to talk about the struggles and just focus on equity and justice for all. And so I really appreciate Yadira and Erica just talking a little bit about values and how important that is, that we have a voice and we say what's on our mind and what we need and what we feel, so we can support and represent all of our teachers and all of our students and all of our community. And I just want to say thank you for everything, for all your guys' hard work, and I hope you guys get a little bit of a break here in the next few weeks before you are back at it. And I just appreciate everything that you're working on towards equity, and I appreciate being part of that team.
Thank you, Jill. Our next item is discussion time. And so now we will have, we will let our student reps go first. So let's start with Maria this time, since you went last time.
Freezing. Can you hear me? My computer is lagging.
Yes, we hear you.
Oh my gosh, my last discussion time. Okay, so I just really want to say a general thank you. A general thank you to all Hillsborough School Districts, because just a thank you. Thank you to every single organization that branches out of the district. Thank you to all teachers and their ability to be more than a teacher to the students. Thank you to all staff across the district, schools, organizations, and within communities. Gracias, Mike. Gracias, Erica. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Jackie. Gracias, Lisa. Gracias, Sheehan. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for never forgetting the enhancement of education. Thank you for always putting our families first. Thank you for highlighting minorities. Thank you for your intent in keeping HSE safe. Thank you for your fight in equity. Thank you for always welcoming everybody. Thank you for never, ever leaving any one of us behind. Most importantly, to be HSE. You all have allowed me to take part of a unique experience. As a young woman, you all taught me that in the same position, my voice has the same importance as sex or gender. As a student, you all taught me that the future is ours and we should make the best of it, leaving a positive mark for the coming generations. Now, as a brown young adult, you all taught me that I shall never let my ethnic background determine my failures. I learned about family with you all. I learned about professionalism with you all. I learned about life with you all with the same base of education. I want you guys to know to never question the path you are all creating for the future of HSD. I lived the changes of this path this year. I saw others live it, and I saw those changes strive. This will obviously not be the last time you will see or hear of me, like how
You got muted, Maria. I'm gonna unmute yourself.
In my heart. Thank you again.
Maria, thank you so much. I can't wait for you to come back and be chair of this board one day. Okay, I will have Andrew go and then Danny.
All right, so like Maria, I'm finishing up my time with the Hillsborough School District. Thanks to everyone who, especially the board members who have been on, who've been with me for, I should say, thank you to everyone who's on this live stream tonight, because I believe I've worked with everyone on this live stream at least once during this year. So thank you all for being partners. I guess thank you all of my teachers, especially all of my friends and peers throughout my 12 years of education. A few shout outs first to Rose Roman, who is our executive assistant. I first met Rose when she was the office manager at McKinney, Go Cougars. And when I found out that she was going to be our new board chair, I was like super thrilled. And I was just like, yes, if anyone deserves to be board chair at this time, it's Rose Roman. Also, a shout out to Lisa Allen, because my mom used to be a board member for Family Promise, and that was where we first met Lisa and Kyle Allen. And so it's been awesome getting to know Lisa being on the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors, and then Kyle Allen on the Hillsborough City Council. A shout out to two teachers I've had throughout my throughout my first through 12th education. Mark Thalman, who has since retired from Evergreen, and Bob Bijak from Glencoe. They've been two of my English teachers, and they have both really sparked a passion in me for creative writing, for literature. Those two are really the reason why I'm planning on majoring in creative writing at Linfield. And I guess, if anything, if I have to do one last thank you, it would be to my fellow members of the Holy Trinity, Maria and Danny. No one I would rather serve as a student rep to the board with. We've definitely become sort of a family with ourselves, and I've definitely loved hanging out with the two of them and having our, I won't say cult because that would be going a little bit extreme, but it's been fun being able to discuss school happenings with the two of them. I guess with that, I'll definitely continue to be participating in local government when I'm able to. I'll be in McMinnville for college, but I guess my address will still be in Hillsborough. And also, it'll be exciting. I think I'll be able to vote in the school board election in 2021. So that'll be exciting, as well as letting my other students, or the other students at Glencoe, know who I'm sort of leaning towards, who I'm voting for, and my views on education with respect to the upcoming board election. So with that, thanks again. Thanks to everyone who has made this trip overall unforgettable, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Thank you, Andrew. And I just want to say, I think every time you've had something written prepared for our board, it's always been wonderful. So I look forward to seeing what else you produce next. And just a clarification that Rose Roman became our our executive assistant to the board of directors this year after we had a retirement, and I completely agree that she is best for this job, and we are so happy that she's here supporting us. And also, you're going to have like firsthand knowledge of what questions to ask of potential candidates. So that would be great to see you on the other side now that you have all this inside information. And lastly, but not least for sure, is Danny Atzema.
Perfect. So unlike my other two student representatives, this is not my last year with the HSD. You guys still have me for one more year, so still here to make some trouble. This has been probably the most unique experience that I've ever had. I've had the pleasure to do a lot of different things in the local politics arena, but this has definitely been a completely new experience and something that I'll cherish. It has opened my eyes to so many different worldviews, so many different things within my own community that I hadn't noticed. I want to thank all the school board members for always being there for me to ask questions and pester and always be on and learning all sorts of new things. I want to thank Mike for always being there for like my emails, like, hey, I read blah, 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 blah. What's going on with that? And him always being there to answer my questions. I want to thank Rose for always being there to help make sure like I always knew what was going on and keeping me sort of in line with everything. And then I want to give an extra special thanks to Brooke, who I can see on screen right there. As some of you may know, some of you might not, I interned at the school district my freshman year, and my mentor at the school district was Brooke Nova. She gave me all my little assignments, everything to do, and she definitely set me on the path into like learning more about how the school district ran. Now, I couldn't do it without you, Brooke, so I see you. I also want to thank my two student representatives that I was here with, because honestly, they're some of the two most entertaining people I've ever met, and they've both taught me so much. I want to thank Maria. As you can see, I have my mason jar right here with my drink in it, my reusable straw. Maria never liked to use plastic. She was always bringing her little mason jars. As you can see, she got her reusable cups. I remember when we went to the OSBA, we drove up there, and I took them through Dutch Bros because that's where I worked before, so we could get our drinks. I remember Maria like being like, no, don't let them put like grabbing a random jar out of her bag and me like, tell them to put it in this. Things I have to say is, one, get to know your fellow student reps. They're the only people out there that are going to understand what you're going through, what stresses that are going on with being on the school board, all that sort of stuff. They're the only other students that are going to be able to completely understand what's going on there. They're going to understand all those things, and they're just so important to being able to be successful on this. As well as also understand that whoever comes to speak at the school board, you might not like some of the things they say. Like, I know that at the beginning of this year, I was having problems when we were doing the sex ed, sort of being like, at some of the things that people are saying. You got to understand where everybody's coming from. Everyone to speak to the board, for the most part, is just concerned about the students, just as concerned about the students as you are. And you guys might not have the same beliefs, but it's important to remember where they're coming from, because always look for what you have in common versus what you have different with somebody. And then I think the final thing that I would say to the next round of student reps is just like, have fun with it. Find what makes this experience important to you, and have the same exact values and the same exact things that matter to you that me and Maria and Andrew did. You're going to have something else that makes you you. And that's what's going to make you a good student representative to the board, is what makes you an individual. And then finally, just like, thank you guys so much for supporting me in this little adventure we went on this year, which we had our ups and downs. This year sure was pretty crazy. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Okay, next we have our superintendent's time.
All right, thank you. First of all, thank you for your thoughtful discussions around the school resource officer topic. We will get an additional session scheduled for July. It is very likely that not all the cabinet members will be here during that time. They are I'm hoping that they get out of town a little bit. And well, I don't know if they'll get out of town, but they take some time off. And so we will make sure that those of us that are available will be on that, and we'll be ready for a continued discussion on that. Erica and Martin, thank you for your leadership over this past year. It has been your leadership has been so competent and courageous, and you've been in a situation where you've had to lead through some incredibly challenging times, and in a challenging time with a highly engaged board who is determined to make a difference in all the best ways, and that's a positive thing and a challenging thing at the same time. So your leadership is just hugely appreciated. Your passion and commitment and your thoughtfulness around every decision that you make or every discussion that we hold is it's awesome. So really appreciate you guys and look forward to continue to work with you. Also want to welcome our new student reps. Looking forward to getting to know you. We are going, in the next couple days, you will receive an email from Rose. You'll get to know Rose pretty well. You'll get to know all of us pretty well, but you'll get an email from Rose, and she will reach out, and we will schedule a group onboarding session. And there's some information that I'll go over with you. And we'll invite Erica if she's available as well. And we'll invite Martin if he's available. Rose will join us, and we'll go through just a notebook of information and help you understand what the expectations are and responsibilities, and we'll get you up to speed and get you ready to go. So welcome, and we're looking forward to getting to know you. And finally, I want to thank just our outgoing student reps to the board. I love that you gave yourselves a name during that first meeting. Was it the Holy Terrors? Is that what it was?
Holy Trinity.
Holy Trinity. And love that you guys named yourself. And you know, when I think back about everything that we've talked about this year, or all the decisions that have been made, I mean, it was mentioned we started with sex ed, and it was very. Those were some exciting meetings. We've had budget issues. We've had textbook adoptions. We've had pandemics. We've had social issues. And through it all, you have always been an integral part of the discussion and part of our work. And I think that the thing that I'm most proud of is the social justice lens that you put on everything. And it is just a part of you, and it is it's important to always have that voice in our work, and to have it coming from young people and our students gives me great hope for our future. So you've been involved in a unique and challenging time, and I love that Maria and Andrew, as they graduate, they're going to continue to be friendly rivals. They'll be going to schools in the same conference, so just like old times. And looking forward to everything that you accomplish on your journey.
Thank you. Board of Directors time, and I'll just go alphabetically on my chat screen. So Jackie, you'll go first.
Okay. I want to thank cannot wait to see where our student reps go. I mean, you all three are well spoken, you're educated, you always ask the right questions, you come from different backgrounds, but we all came together and found, like Danny said, the common ground. So I'm very proud of all three of you, and how you have found your voices over the last year is very impressive. Right now really is an incredibly difficult time, right? And I just want to take a minute we all come from a different place and different spaces. I truly believe that we all come from a place of respect and wanting to learn and wanting to grow. And I just want to remind us all we each need a little bit of grace once in a while. And I think that that's just really important to remember. So that's it.
Thank you, Jackie. Next we have Lisa and Mark on deck.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes, okay, my internet's decided it's going to hiccup in this moment, so hopefully you can hear me the whole time. I'll try to keep it short. I just first want to say thank you so much. I have so much gratitude for Danny, Maria, and Andrew Thank you to the three of you for giving us so much of your time over this last year and dedicating yourselves to this work. It was truly a pleasure to work with each of you. I had so much fun hanging out with you when we were doing the OSBA conference in the fall. And I've always found your contributions to be very meaningful. And I'm so proud that you are part of our board, and I can't wait to see what you do going forward. So I really have treasured this time with each of you, and I think that you're amazing. So thank you very much for that. And I can't wait to get to know our three. So bye, guys. And then I'm so excited for the new people. Yay! Can't wait to get to know you. Out with the old, in with the new. No, I'm just kidding. I'll miss you three so much, but I am very excited to get to know our new three musketeers, or whatever name you shall give yourselves. It will be wonderful to find out. So I can't wait to see you in person again soon. And I will also say I'm very heartbroken that I wasn't able to hand you your diploma holder, Andrew and Maria, and hug you on stage. And I hope you know that we were all there with you in spirit and watched you on the live stream and cheered for you in our kitchens. And so great job being successful, and good luck in the future. And that was not very short, so I'm all done now.
Thank you, Lisa. Mark?
All right. Same things everybody else has been saying. Yeah, the three of our student reps have been great. And I sort of love the unintended consequence of how you guys get to become friends. And I think we saw that with Jessica and Samantha as well. Like, they became friends in a way that they probably never would have. So as we continue along this journey of figuring out what it means to have student representation on the board, that's one of the things we couldn't anticipate. And I'm glad that it's worked out that way, that, hopefully the friendships will continue. And way to go, Danny, with the shout out for Brooke. And Brooke, I was wondering if you could get a little closer. I don't think we can see you. So maybe get, the year didn't end, academic year didn't end the way I think any of us anticipated. So, as we figure things out, I think we got the right folks in Mike and the leadership team we had to figure it out. You have all my confidence. I do think, we heard through everything. We could have kept asking our questions for Alex. And as we continue that discussion, I hope we have him back, because I think there were a lot of questions we didn't get to. And I think a lot of them are maybe simple that we could just ask in an email form. But I really think that it's important to discuss these in a public forum, ask all those questions. And I appreciate that, he self-identified as biased towards a pro-police perspective, and we need to have that. And I'm glad that he understands that that's his perspective. And he's really the best resource we have to ask, why we talked about just in our, why is it? What was the reason the transition was made from wearing khakis and a polo shirt to a full uniform, right? So we haven't even gotten that piece of information yet. So I think we definitely need to continue that conversation. Looking forward to the new student representatives coming on board. I think, I believe Rose sent us the thing. So I think in our new format, Lisa and I will be Devlin's mentor now. So look forward to us reaching out to you as well. So you have like the official onboarding, and then we'll give you like the unofficial lowdown about what really goes on. Looking forward to working with you guys. And Andrew, Danny, Maria, please stop by anytime you're in town.
Thank you, Mark. And just to capture before we move to Martin, some comments on here from Beth that the graduation video premieres on Friday night, so you will get email links to YouTube. And Jackie just expressed thank you for that, as well as Brooke. She hasn't figured out her screen proximity, even though she's had this for months to get together. Don't worry, it's good. We like the up close and personal. And Beth also just commented that it's been way, way more work than we anticipated for the video. And I can only imagine. I've only tried to do like small clips, and it's so long. I cannot imagine how much work this is taking to compile. But I know that we were committed to doing this work. So our next director is Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Debbie, thanks for joining us. Jill and Debbie, it's always great to hear your voice and to see you join us even in this venue for a board meeting. Thank you very, very much. And Danny and Andrew and Maria, it's been a pleasure. I think the word that comes to mind for me is genuine. Each of you three were your genuine selves, and we got to know you and see you. And sometimes that's hard to do in a group setting, but we really did get to know you because you were very genuine. And I have to say, Andrew and Maria, y'all look fabulous in your cap and gowns. Absolutely stunning. Yeah. To the HSD team, I just want to say thank you. It's not lost on me or think anybody who's really watching the tremendous work that you're doing behind the scenes to figure all this out. You know, on the timeline of the governor's pronouncements or Colt Gill or all these people that you don't control are making announcements that just rock your world on a daily basis, and you're rolling with the punches and keeping HSD on track. And it's pretty amazing. It's truly amazing. Mike, I want to say thank you for signing on for another year. You're an extraordinary leader, and I've had the pleasure in my Air Force career of working with a lot of generals, 1, 2, 3, 4 stars, and you'd been a great general, Mike, if you'd have chosen to lead in that way. I really appreciate your leadership and your inclusive. To my colleagues, thank you very, very much for appointing me in this capacity. I'll do everything I can to serve well. And lastly, to our new student reps, have a good time. Find your voice. It was great to hear you speaking out in this meeting, and continue to contribute. Find your voice early, and you know that's why you're here, so you can contribute and add to the discussion. So I look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. And next we have Sheehan.
Hi, everyone. Man, when I was getting sworn in last year with the student reps, I don't think I could have anticipated where we are today and just this whole journey that we've been on. But I'm so grateful to have walked this journey with you all. And Mike, I thank you so much for your leadership. I think that you are the exact person that we've needed to lead us through all of these times. So thank you, and the rest of the cabinet and all of my board colleagues. Danny, Maria, and Andrew, it's been so fun getting to know you all, and just seeing your guys' dynamic and the way you guys light up a room and light up a conversation has just been such a delight. And Maria and Andrew, super excited for you guys now that you're graduated, and you guys truly do give us hope for what future generations hold. So super excited for you guys. I do know that there are, I think, a couple of budget members who are still online. So I just wanted to thank Michael Smith and Kevin Murphy, who were on the budget committee. Thank you guys for your guys' tremendous time and effort, and just your insight that you guys have put in. It's not an easy task, but we celebrate your guys' commitment to serve our community in this capacity. And then lastly, I just want to welcome our 3 new student reps, Ilham, Maya, and Devlin. We're super excited for what this upcoming year has for you guys. And we know that the 3 of you, you guys have some big shoes to fill, but I know that you guys will absolutely add your own twist to it. So we're super excited to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheehan. And next we have Yadira.
I'll keep it really brief. I just want to echo everything that all my fellow board members are saying. Andrew, Danny, and Maria, it was great getting to know you guys and working with you guys. I feel very, as I talk to you guys, as I talk to, I have high school age kids too myself and their friends. I think we're in really good hands. And so it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later. And new student reps, so welcome, and to the shenanigans of the HSD board. I'm sure we'll have lots of fun. And with that, I will give it back to Erica.
Thank you, Yadira. For my time, I just want to say thank you to my fellow board members and trusting Martin and myself to keep guiding you in our district, and we look forward to the next year, which is going to be full of more aware of what's coming. So we know that, and we just need to prepare. I also wanted to just say to our outgoing student rep that you make our board work more impactful, and you make us just want to be here at a higher, just hold ourselves at a higher standard in the best way. Seeing your faces every single time that we're in a board meeting is a constant reminder of all the changes that we do or advocate for have a real life impact on your lives. So I just want to thank you for serving as this program in the capacity that it does, that you get real life experience and you get real time with elected officials and with Mike in his position. And normally there aren't a lot of programs that exist that give you that. And this is just such a great opportunity for you to build on whatever endeavors you have in the future. And I know that we will see you again later back in our community. And also just a welcome to our new student reps. This is going to be an exciting time, exciting year. And depending on how we're able to do it in person or online, I'm sure that we'll be able to build those relationships and keep the communication going. And I also just want to thank Mike again for all your work and time. You're staying on a couple years. And also thank you to all of our PAC parents that come in and present. That was such an awesome experience to have today. And it's difficult to do via technology, but I think that they did amazing. And I'm so proud of them for just showing us all the work that they're doing. And also just that just helps us continue that dynamic and conversation and gives them that space here to interact with the board in a way that they never before. So I thank our board members for making that space happen. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Oh, the other thing actually I just wanted to mention to our board members, and this is something that is going on the background in my role as your OSBA board member. There's a lot of changes I think that are happening, and also a lot of things that really tough conversations in the association. And one of the things, as you'll probably be seeing more, is the statement of holding our board elected officials and board members accountable as well for supporting DEI values and also all students in our districts. And it's challenging, and the more I think we get into the political side of things, coming up with election and things are going to be happening. Just a heads up that there's more, I think there's going to be more incidents where there might be some boards that are not behaving in a way, or board members, elected officials. And OSBA is drafting a document and a communication out to ensure that districts are having those conversations with their elected officials and holding each other accountable for ensuring that we don't create any more harm or trauma to our communities of color. So I think OSBA is working on, and I just wanted to share that with you. And with that, that's all I have. So I look forward to our next work session, and we continue the conversation regarding our SRO and get more information and an opportunity to speak with Alex. So I thank you all for your time, and our board meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.